This is CityCast Twin Cities. I'm Sean McPherson, and here's what the cities are talking about. Hey, today on CityCast, we're pulling out some of our favorite conversations from the last couple months. Got together with Cassel from Racket and celebrated journalist Amy Nelson. We talked about the top 5 movie theaters in the Twin Cities. Controversial, but a fun conversation. We also found out about the new Visitor's Guide to the Twin Cities that Amy wrote for Wired magazine. Later in the episode, we'll hear from contributor Hans Buetow about what he learned when he went to change a racial covenant on his house. Hope you enjoy the episode. I grew up in a significantly more boring area than the Twin Cities. I grew up in Williamstown, Massachusetts. You didn't pick which movie theater you wanted to go to. You went to whatever one had Singles or Jurassic Park or Girl 6. Me and my brother were the only 2 people to see Girl 6 in rural Massachusetts on night 1. You are welcome, Spike Lee. You didn't pick where you went to the movies. You didn't pick where you went to high school. You just picked where the only thing showing was. It's so different in the Twin Cities. We are lousy with fantastic cinemas in the Twin Cities, and they're thriving at a time when a lot of folks had already sort of put movie theaters in the coffin. And we want to iron out a very arguable top 5 movie theaters in the Twin Cities. And first, before we get into the details, are you a movie theater enthusiast? Do you think it is the way to enjoy a movie and an important part of your life?
I absolutely am. I literally love going to the movies. It is such a fundamental part of my personality. Streaming is fine. You can watch movies at home. I do have a massive collection of VHS tapes that I have somehow talked about on this podcast before. But there is nothing that compares to the experience of going opening weekend to see a new scary movie or a new comedy and being scared or being delighted and laughing in a room full of people. I love it. It adds so much to the experience of going to the movies. I just love it.
And I would add being in a room with other people. I saw Spinal Tap last fall and just having everybody laughing at the absurd jokes, because they're all inside jokes too. So that was a blast.
Ugh.
It's a communal experience when it's at its best. When it's at its worst, there is only crying babies and people texting at the same time.
Yeah, I actually was recently at a movie theater where a girl was on TikTok the whole time on her phone, which really seemed like it defeated the purpose. But you know what? Go ahead, multitask, girl.
Well, we are here to steer you in the right direction to fantastic cinemas that you really will enjoy and will get a lot out of. And you brought this idea. I want to find out the couple theaters that you will die on the hill to make sure they make this top 5.
Absolutely. My number 1, I am literally wearing their merch right now, is the Trilon in South Minneapolis. I think it's an 88-seat theater. It's incredibly small. They used to call it a micro cinema. I don't know if they still do, but they just do the best series of movies. The selection is so well curated. A couple summers ago, they did a whole series of Nick Cage movies that I went to many of. My friend Jordan went to all of them. They do great little movie passports for stuff they did a series recently called Nazis. We hate these guys. And if you went to all the movies and get your passport stamped, you get a little fun piece of merch. And they also do stuff every Halloween, they do a horror movie marathon. This summer, I went to their 80s Action-thon, which is 4 movies over the course of a day. And you're there and with a bunch of other freaks who will watch, 8 hours worth of 80s action together. It's just the best theater. I have so many good things to say about the Trilon, and volunteer supported. All the people taking your tickets, giving you popcorn, they're all volunteers. It's just the best vibe. I would die for the Trilon.
And this is in South Minneapolis, right on Minnehaha?
Yeah, right by Arbeiter Brewing and Moon Palace Books. It's a really great little area of Minneapolis over there.
All right, if that's the hill you'll die on, what about the foothill?
The foothill, for me, is another one-room cinema. I kind of have a niche. I love the Heights in, I guess it's in Columbia Heights, way up northeast. If you have never been, the treat that it is, before every movie, they have a guy who plays an organ, a classic organ that comes up out of the floor. And there's the big curtains across the screen. And they also have a Dairy Queen next door. And you can bring in a Blizzard or ice cream, which is such a fun little treat in the summer. I'm kind of like an old lady, I think, at heart, and it really speaks to my old lady, my inner old lady.
All right, Amy, I know that you've seen many movies in your day. Is it a fundamental part of your personality, as Em described? Are you a real cinema enthusiast?
I do love going to the theater, but I have to say it's not like a weekly thing for me. But actually, I was just on Saturday, I went to the Maine and saw Green Blah, the history of punk rock in Green Bay. And that was, again, sold out. I also really love the Riverview in Minneapolis. Grew up, I kind of, in my early 20s, lived in that neighborhood. And so we used to go there all the time. So the retro snack bar and the retro feeling is super fun, too.
Also, their prices are so good.
Exactly. 50-cent popcorn, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they made a mint selling just popcorn during the pandemic because people think the popcorn is so good, and I tend to agree. And you might be wondering, we're heading into prime movie season. We're only a week away from Thanksgiving, and then we move into all the holiday movies. Movies are one of the most relaxing things you can do with your family, of which there are like 2. I don't know, like play a non-political board game or see a movie, and otherwise it's just stressful a lot of the time. So this is the perfect time to think about where you can take in movies and where you can maybe get a little respite from what can be a very stressful time of the year. The Riverview I'd forgotten about, Amy, when I made my list, and this is great. And I would put the Riverview, the Trylon, and the Heights, and the Maine a little bit in this set of theaters that do snobby stuff and they do accessible stuff.
Totally, yes.
Growing up, the art house movie things, they wouldn't show anything that was remotely interesting. It was all just, like Italian films with no subtitles from 1951. And it has changed. They're making accessible things, and they're still also doing great stuff for cinephiles. So I'm going to throw in My Hill and Foothill, and then we're going to try to iron out this list. Okay. The AMC Eden Prairie 18. You did not see that. Oh, okay. Em, you know what I'm talking about? Okay. There's a fireplace near the movie theater, which is very calming and comforting. There is a place to nurse newborns in the theater, which is very thoughtful, especially when these movies are like 3.5 hours long. Think about all the nursing that had to happen during that 4 horror movies that was happening at the Trylon. Where's Trylon's nursing room? So the food court is elite. They have like fast food places that time forgot, and also some classics that you need, and a Subway, which I would not voluntarily go to, but a lot of people do like a Subway situation. So for suburban perfection, AMC Eden Prairie 18. I was really happy that you're excited about this. You like this one?
Yeah, I go to that theater a lot. Yeah, especially for like first run movies where like I think it's one of the best. If I'm going to a first run movie, I'm probably going to that theater, or I'm doing the Edina Man. That's my other I'll leave Minneapolis to go to those theaters. Fine, I will leave.
I think I'm the only urinal user on the call. The Grandview Theater on Grand and Fairview has spectacular floor to ceiling, or not to the ceiling, but floor to my head urinals, and spectacular Diet Coke and comparatively reasonable prices. And it's my neighborhood, like Grand and Fairview. I've seen a lot of movies there. It is special to me. Has anybody taken in a movie at Grand and Fairview before?
I have not.
Oh, I have, but not for a while.
I got to see these urinals, though.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I really want to go, but I can't. How am I going to sneak in and check out the urinal situation?
A, I'll cover for you, but B, okay. They don't close the doors. They're visible. I don't think I think you could stand kind of near and look. I don't know why I know this, but I do believe they're visible even before you go into the bathroom. Just
to be clear, Sean is encouraging me to peep on the people using the urinals in the Great Big Bath. Am I getting this correct? We got this.
I'm the owner-editor of Racket. I need to know. What were you going to say, Amy?
Is it like the bathroom, the communal bathroom at the Varsity?
Those are great.
Yeah, those are my
beautiful bathrooms.
Favorite.
Yeah.
Can we do a series on that?
Yeah, top 5 bathrooms.
Top 5 bathrooms next week. Right now, I think we have the table set. So here's a couple. I feel like the Trylon and Riverview are non-negotiable.
Yeah,
are
those
you guys
gotta go on there. Okay. Totally.
And I think a lot of people see movies in the burbs. I'd like to put AMC Eden Prairie in the mix.
I feel good about that.
Fair.
Okay. The last time I went to the Heights, That was not an accommodating seat for the larger gentleman. And do you have any idea if they can handle this jelly, if you will?
I don't know, Sean. That's a great point.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to take him off just for that, but if you have made your seats bigger, please let me know. Okay, so we got Trylon Riverview and AMC Eden Prairie. Give me a push. I feel like the main is a huge deal, right?
I think we need the main, yeah.
Amy, are you with that? That was the one you brought.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I mean, they're part of the Film Festival Society too. So
they do very special things that no one else does for film in this area. That leaves us with our fourth. So I think our options are the Heights, which is only getting docked for maybe not being accommodating to my butt. And then we have Grandview Theater. Is there anything else we want to put up for this top five?
No. I think we got to do the Grandview, right? We have nobody else in St. Paul. The urinals, yeah.
Is Trylon one? Can Trylon be one? I was ready to put it as one.
It's my number one for sure. I'm Trylon pilled.
Team Trylon.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm giving the main number two unless somebody speaks up. We're all happy with the main.
Good.
Okay. Riverview Theater, iconic, best popcorn in town. Number three. AMC Eden Prairie, the Fireplace. Number four.
You're gonna get some haters on that one though.
On the AMC Eden Prairie, who's hating?
I'm sure they'll let you know.
People who live in St. Paul and have to drive all the way to Eden Prairie.
Okay, that's fair. And I did want to bring up Rosedale is spectacular because it is in the burbs, but you can get there on many bus lines. It is easier to get there than many movie theaters in the city. That having been said, the Fireplace. So just direct all your hate mail.
I love that Sean's criteria are like completely not movie related. It's like urinals and fireplaces.
Yeah. How's the sound system? Yeah.
Don't care. They got that Dolby. I don't know. What am I peeing
in? That's my new feature. What am I peeing in by Sean McPherson. So number five, Grandview, Grand and Fairview. All right. That's the top five. Are you guys all ready for the hate mail?
Yes. Bring it.
We do want to hear from you, not just hate mail, but also recommendations. What's your favorite Twin Cities movie theater? What is the one we missed that you are screaming at your speakers right now for us forgetting about? Send us a text, leave us a voicemail on the CityCast Twin Cities hotline, 612-217-0637. You might hear your question or your comment on a future episode. There's more news to discuss, and before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. I am a gift-giving procrastinator, and that means I usually end up buying a bunch of gift cards at the last minute and feeling terrible about it. But I changed my ways this year, and I gave an Aura frame. In this day and age with digital photos, it is so hard to find something that really brings to life those photos in a special way. But that's where the Aura frame comes in. Think about your favorite photos and how much you wish they could be in a picture frame. That's what Aura does, and they have a lot of awesome reasons to use it. You can personalize that gift before you even send it out the door. Add that message so they know you care about them. You didn't just buy gift cards at the last minute. Plus, you get unlimited free photos and video. All you got to do is download the Aura app and connect it to Wi-Fi. Now, for a limited time, you can save on this spectacular gift by visiting auraframes.com. You get $35 off of Aura's best-selling Carver Mat frames. They were named #1 by Wirecutter. And you get that $35 off by using the promo code CityCast at checkout. That's auraframes.com and use the promo code CityCast. Now, this deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames do sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. And support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is sponsored by Babbel. The idea of learning a new language can be scary. I felt overwhelmed by that. I bet you have too. I'm CityCast CEO David Plotz, and studies show that up to 90% of people trying to learn a new language give up. 90%. Fortunately, Babbel's built so it's really easy to get started and really easy to stick with it. They understand that people learn differently. So maybe you can dive into a podcast on Babbel when you don't feel like a quick lesson, or you can speak out loud to get practice in, or you can explore courses based on specific topics and even create your own customized review lists, all within the Babbel app. Babbel has made learning a language all about small steps with real wins and progress you can actually track and feel. Bite-sized lessons that fit easily into your daily routine and are also easy to remember. Just 10 minutes a day is enough to start seeing real results. I've been learning Spanish with Babbel, and it's helped when I've traveled in Mexico, and it helps me eavesdrop on my son and my girlfriend when they speak Spanish to try to fool me. No más, mi corazón. However you learn best, by listening, speaking, reading, or writing, Babbel adapts to your style and keeps you motivated with personalized learning plans, real-time feedback, and progress tracking. And right now, here's a special limited-time deal for CityCast listeners. Right now, get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription at babbel.com/CityCast. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/CityCast. Spelled BABBEL.com/CityCast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Sometimes on Instagram, I'll see somebody like spending a day in the Twin Cities. And by that, they mean spending a half hour on Nicollet Mall and complaining because it's Sunday at 11 a.m. and they didn't have the world's best time on Nicollet Mall at 11 a.m. in downtown Minneapolis. And they come to this conclusion. They go, the Twin Cities kind of sucks. And I get so frustrated, but I don't necessarily do anything about it. I don't have the series of recommendations that I would really like to put in that person's hand to make sure they know how great the Twin Cities are. But Amy Nelson is actually doing that work, and we are so thankful for that. She knows the Twin Cities inside and out. That is not even up for discussion. She also wrote a great travel guide recently for Wired, and it's spectacular because it also speaks to what the modern traveler needs. How did this piece come about, Amy?
Yeah, actually, I kind of lucked into it. I was having dinner at Moochie's with a friend, and I checked my email, and I got a sort of important email from a Wired editor saying that they had somebody fall through, and could I do a guide to the Twin Cities in a few days, 3,000 words. I was like, sure.
Casual.
I can do that. Yeah. It's directed at tech travelers, their readers basically, but I tried to broaden it for anybody who reads Wired or just needs a city guide in general.
Amy, I was very interested in the coffee shop recommendations and the food recommendations portion of your list because I feel like that must have been impossible to whittle down. We have like so many options. So like, how did you even start figuring out how to make a list that wasn't just like 1,000 things?
Yeah, that was probably tough. But have you guys heard of the term coffis before?
No.
Yeah, I didn't know coffis.
Coffee shop office is what Wired. They asked me to have some coffices. I was like, what is that? Sure. Obviously, Spy House is a favorite in the Twin Cities. I had to include Caribou. I have a little bit of like best in show joke in there where I say, make sure you're at the right Caribou, not the one across the street if you're meeting somebody. Caribou is local. And then, I just kind of included some of my favorites. And I also sort of made the mistake of the Madden effect where I included one, Wesley Andrews, that is closing at the end of the year after my story came out. So
you jinxed him.
Sorry. R.I.P.
Amy.
Now, Amy, I often think that the folks that might be using this, you're worried that they might just sit at a hotel bar where nothing is special and nothing is unique. And again, come to this conclusion that there isn't something special and unique about the Twin Cities. But frankly, as an insider who lives here and loves going out, I still learned a lot from your story, including this spot that I drive past all the time that my wife has been talking about, the Lodge of Lazarus Crow on West 7th and St. Paul. I have not been there. What am I missing?
Do you like having a cocktail in a funeral home? I mean, that's the vibe.
I never
always bring a flask to a funeral.
That's what those after funeral dinners are for, the lunches.
We've got coffices and we've got coffins.
Coffins. Very good. Yeah, that opened, I want to say, a couple years ago, and it has this huge raven right in the smack dab center of it, and it is an escape room if you want to do an escape room. That is probably one of the better ones that I've done because it uses the actual funeral home vibe. They're pretty well known for their game nights, and they have board games everywhere, and sometimes we bring our own. And their menu is really good too. Very vegan and very diverse.
So is that something like when people come visit you, would you take them there? Or like what are the things like when someone comes to town that you're like, we have to do X, Y, and Z? What is on your itinerary?
Yeah, and the funny thing is some of it didn't make it into my story, like the editing and the limiting. So I have Indeed, but not Insight Brewing. I have Surly, but not Summit. I don't have the Mall of America. I don't have Paisley Park. But I certainly would include those. Usually if somebody's coming to visit or like my daughter's home from college, we'll go to a show. And then like we've gone to the House of Balls. I didn't include that.
That's a great weird one. Yeah.
So another thing that I love to do is I bowl. So, there's some great bowling alleys around
I drag
here.
everyone who visits me to memory lanes without question.
Perfect. Perfect place. I also roller skate. So there's only 2 roller rinks left in the Twin Cities, main roller rinks. But I go to a Monday night season skater session in Burnsville.
Amy, do you want to hang out sometime?
Yeah.
We don't ask that of every person, but you sound awesome. So I'd really like to do that. I believe, am I correct that Keith Harris in Racket gave this write-up some love and was like, this is actually a very defensible list of things to do in the Twin Cities?
Yeah, we put it in one of our daily newsletters that we do every day that's just kind of like a roundup of the news around town. And we were like, listen, we get it. You're skeptical. Like Wired drops into town and they're like, here's what you have to do in the Twin Cities. And then we were reading it and we were like, oh, this is actually a really solid list. And they're like, oh, Amy wrote it. Okay. Yes. Like she is one of us. We can trust her.
Thank you. Yeah.
She's not some coastal elite parachuting in, telling us where to bowl.
We want to hear from you, listener. You're a savvy traveler, maybe not in the Twin Cities. This is where you call home. But if you are with somebody who's visiting for a couple days or even for an extended stay, what do you make sure they should do? What do you drag them along to? What places do you send them to? Send us a text or leave us a voicemail on the CityCast Twin Cities hotline, 612-217-0637. And those comments might show up in a future episode. There's more news to discuss. Before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. I am joined by our contributor, Hans Buetow. Hans, thank you so much for being with CityCast Twin Cities.
Oh, such a genuine pleasure. I am so excited to be here.
We're also with our executive producer, Anna Weggel, slightly less excited, but still here. Thank you for being here, Anna.
What a thrill, Sean. I am peak excited. This is great.
We just put an election in the rear view, but there's still a lot of things to think about with the impacts of elections. And frankly, I think elections are one of the rare moments where you can look back at the history of a particular city or even a particular position like the mayor. You can look at voting results. You can get really granular. And you can also, of course, think about the future, how these new policies that a new mayor-elect might bring into your lived experiences. But it's also a chance to think about how old policies change your current lived experience. If you live in a part of the Twin Cities with racial covenants on the books in your deeds, that impacts the racial makeup of your neighborhood today. But I want to back up for a minute because I didn't grow up knowing the term racial covenants. I think I became aware of it in about 2018. And Hans, our contributor, is actually involved in this Mapping Prejudice project. So first, Hans, simple question. What is a racial covenant?
Racial covenant is a part of your deed. It's added to a deed, the thing that like gives you the right to have that space and that building and says where it is and what parcel and all that. That thing can include, if it was put in there when it was created, a clause that keeps people who were not white from buying or occupying the home. It was not uncommon for a lot of the time period that the Twin Cities was being built.
Also, having seen some of these, it's not like gray language. It'll say like no Jews, or it'll say no blacks and things like that as well. Yeah,
it won't say blacks, but yeah, it will. It'll be a lot worse. Yeah, actually, Sean, I looked my house up because the way that I found out about this was because I got a letter from Ramsey County saying you've got a racial covenant on your home, and just like you, Sean, I was like, oh, I've what am I? What? Do I need to call a pest person? What is that? And so I started looking into it a little bit, and they had a thing at our city hall, our Falcon Heights City Hall. And so I went over there and they did a whole presentation where you can actually get it taken care of. They had lawyers in the room. You could go learn a little bit about it and then get it taken care of. So we went to the event.
What does get it taken care of mean?
So this is an interesting point.
Like removed, right?
Like get rid of it. Is that what you mean?
No. Ooh. This is what I find really interesting about it. They're not removing them from the deeds. They are instead putting in a clause that says this is unenforceable. This will never be enforced, but they're not taking them out.
I wish they would.
So it's an interesting point, right? Because we brought this up when we were in the meeting. It's like, why wouldn't you just take them away? This seems wild. The people who were running Mapping Prejudice from the U of M had a really thoughtful answer, what I thought was a really thoughtful answer to that, which is that, look, these things are not enforceable. As of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, that included the Fair Housing Act, which says directly in it, racial covenants are not enforceable. So we haven't actually been able to, like, you couldn't actually go to a lawyer and be like, look, this says this in my deed. So their point was, what happens if the Fair Housing Act goes away? Which felt like a really bananas thing to say 6, 8, 10 months ago.
Wow.
But because of so much that's happening in the Voting Rights Act and how much, which is in the same 1968 Civil Rights Act, with how much stuff is being repealed in those spaces, if we have these things in, then they're in there.
Okay, so now I'm getting a sense of this, Hans, which is that people are sort of going, in this current political climate, we better dot all our I's and cross all our T's on the stuff that we think couldn't happen because we've already seen a whole bunch of stuff that we thought couldn't happen happen. Yep. Okay, they don't teach us on the first day of podcast in school, but Hans, I'm about to try to make a joke and then give you a gotcha question. So strap in, hold on to your microphone.
I just
First
need to breathe.
off,
okay.
You went to the Falcon Heights City Hall. Did you say that?
Yeah. Yep.
What part of the fairgrounds is the City Hall on for Falcon Heights? Is it on Dan Patch or is it like...
No, it's in the Midway. It's in the Midway, obviously.
Okay. Were you able to get cheese curds? Like, seriously, Falcon Heights is 1 block long besides for the State Fair. Can you actually tell me where the Falcon Heights City Hall is?
It's just it's on Larpenteur, just north of the fields.
Okay.
Basically right across from Philando Castile's memorial.
Okay. That's very germane to my semi-gotcha question. I bet you get out to this meeting, meet with some lawyers. Some of them are volunteering. Some of them might be getting paid. It's 45 minutes out of your day. Doing the paperwork is probably an extra hour and 40 minutes to try to get this covenant fixed that hasn't been enforceable for 57 years. Is there a better 2 hours you and your family could spend to fight racism than fixing an unenforceable thing on a deed?
Yes, but why does it have to be a binary?
Because if you're going, this is what I got 2 hours, scrap that and go volunteer, or scrap that and go stand out there and go, this is where Philando Castile was killed by police and this can never happen again where I live. And again, it's not a binary because you got time. I can't get into your business and find out everything else you do. But I'm worried that this is one of those things. The San Francisco School Board spent like 2.5 years changing the names of public schools and not addressing the needs of their students. Are we making the same mistake by fixing things in our paperwork when we should fix things in our streets and in our communities?
Let me say it this way. I don't think awareness is ever a bad thing to have. The Mapping Prejudice project says very explicitly, part of what they're doing is reparative justice. And part of what reparative justice requires is an acknowledgement and a reckoning by the people who caused some of the harm. To talk about, okay, what are the things that we can do? Knowing that you have a racial covenant on the property that you have. Knowing that, for example, if I go to my house built in the 1950s, said that it should not be sold, rented, or used, occupied by any person except a person of the white Caucasian race. However, members of other races may occupy the premises when employed.
Oh, rough.
I think that's important to hear. It's rough to hear. Yeah. I think it's not enforceable, no. But it's important to hear. It's important to know that it's there. And it's important to make a historical stand and say, yeah, this thing happened. And when I look at the map of Minneapolis, when I look at the map of the Twin Cities, you can see these covenants mapped directly into where the highways are, where the inequalities are all over the city. Like, this is the basis of a ton of structural stuff that is literally placed right on top of it. Why people live in the places that they are and where they were or were not allowed has ramifications. We're still voting on things that have their roots in language like that are still on our deeds. Yeah, it's not enforceable. Yeah, it could be enforceable. Let's make sure it's not. But also, let's have a real conversation about this and be honest to the fact that these things exist in the spaces that we occupy.
And Hans, did you say why you received that letter? Is it a part of this project?
I received the letter because of the work that Mapping Prejudice had done. They had, what you can do is you can volunteer for them and you go in and you read deeds for them. And you identify the parts of it that has the racial covenant, and then you say where it is, and then they will notify people.
How many have you done?
Hundreds. They're very easy to do.
Really?
You do it online. There's an online portal. I keep it up. I did a lot more of them over the summer. I would keep it up, and instead of when I need to take a break during a busy day, instead of pausing and playing a video game or something, I'd do a racial covenant.
Wow.
Just boop, takes 5 minutes. Easy. Done. You feel like you did something.
My gotcha question completely backfired because now I feel like the asshole who does play a video game, whereas Hans is like, oh, just getting rid of a couple covenants, and you raise a very vital point, Hans, which is that we might want to be prepared for a day where this Housing Act is no longer exists or is no longer enforced. But B, also when something connects you to place, what else does that plug you into? When you start doing this work, what else do you find? And we shouldn't be too picky about how people find their way into this work. We're talking a lot about how these covenants of yesteryear that haven't been enforceable for quite some time are still tangible in the way we exist today. And we're talking about disparities, which again are really abysmal in the Twin Cities and in Minnesota. Another disparity is in voter turnout. And the two North Side wards in Minneapolis are 4 and 5. North Side is the blackest part of Minneapolis. And they had a turnout of 40.3% in Ward 4 and a turnout of 35.2% in Ward 5. And we're seeing significantly higher turnout even in the upper 60s in different wards in Minneapolis. We were just patting ourselves on the back about high voter turnout, but that voter turnout is not spread out equally. When you see low amounts of voting, and we were also observing when you see low amounts of attempting to engage with the North Side and actually communicate, especially in citywide elections, do you see that inside the way you're learning about racial covenants in your volunteer work, Hans?
Yeah. My guess is, I haven't done the data, but my guess is if you mapped those two things against each other and laid one on top of the other, they would match each other.
Well, you know what? I got to give a shout out to Toussaint Morrison from Onsite Public Media, who actually did a short Instagram post laying some of that comparison out and talking about where different folks had covenants and where different mayoral candidates won, as well as how the voting turnout was. So yes, there's a lot to connect on the dots, and I want to tip my hat to Onsite Public Media for that work.
Yeah, that's great. I'd love to see that. That's great.
You said reparations, Hans, and whenever I hear reparations, I think cut a check. This is reparations in repair a wrong on paperwork, not cut a check. Am I correct on that?
That's right. That's right. Okay. And reparations has a lot of ways that it can be enacted. Money is definitely one aspect of it, but there are many other forms of reparative justice. And so this can be a form of reparative justice, and it's needed. I mean, still, we have one of the highest disparities in the country, if not the highest disparity between white and black home ownership. 78% of white families own a home, but only 25% of black families own a home in the Twin Cities. No one else comes close to that in the country. And that, we need to understand that this is one of the reasons why.
Hans, the amount of cooking videos I watch in a day is staggering on my phone. If I wanted to do something else with my time and volunteer with this project, what's the easiest way to get involved?
Very easy to go to mappingprejudice.umn.edu. You can Google Mapping Prejudice, and it'll take you and give you a bunch of information. You can look at the animated versions of the maps of how the covenants evolved over time, which is fascinating. And then there'll be a button in there to volunteer, and you go through a quick training. They'll teach you how to use the software, and then you're on your own. You can do it anytime you want. It's real easy, and it feels good.
That was our contributor, Hans Buetow, and our executive producer, Anna Weggel. Amy Nelson, M. Cassel, it's always a joy to have you on the podcast. Thank you for being here today. You can get more news delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to the CityCast Twin Cities newsletter. If you enjoyed today's show, why not share this podcast with a fellow movie theater enthusiast? We'll see you back here tomorrow for more news from around the city.